Shalom kids, how are you all? I hope you all are having a great day. So today I wanted to share you the story of Sir James Simpson. Who is he and what we can learn from his life story? Have you ever heard about anesthesia, kids? So anesthesia is this medicine or drug that is injected into a person right before the surgery. So if you want to perform any surgery, first anesthesia is given. So the person becomes unconscious and cannot feel any pain. Imagine kids, you have to cut open a stomach so that you can perform a surgery. How painful and dreadful must the patient feel? So to avoid this painful procedure, this anesthesia is given so the person becomes unconscious and cannot feel the pain. Anesthesia was invented by Sir James Simpson. Simpson was born in 1811 to a Scottish family in the United Kingdom. He was always good at studying. He was always first in his academics. He pursued in medicine and graduated in it. He then, after a few years into his career, he was praised for his work, he was praised for his treatment, he was praised for his wisdom and knowledge. He was well known in his place. But he always fell the slack because while he was performing surgery, there were no proper hospitals. Back in those days, there were no proper hospitals, nor there was a medicine that was given to a person before the surgery. So when a doctor performs the surgery, in those days, the patient's hands and legs were tied to the bed so he wouldn't move while performing the surgery. So it was very dreadful for Simpson to watch his patients in that situation. So he prayed to God. He prayed to God every day. He read Bible every day. He prayed to God every day to give him wisdom to achieve something so that he could solve this problem. He prayed every day to God to give him wisdom. Because God promised that if you ask for wisdom, He will give it to you. One day while he was going through his lab work, he found or discovered this medicine called as chloroform. He thought he could use this for unconscious medicine. So he wanted to try it on himself before giving to any of his patients. And when he tried it on himself, he was found unconscious for about 3 days. So he developed this medicine and started using it on his patients. One day, he used it on a pregnant woman who was giving birth. And it was very successful and the patient didn't even feel a bit of pain. The girl child who was born was named Anesthesia, and that's how the name of anesthesia or this unconscious medicine came. Everyone started using anesthesia all over the world. One day, to honor Simpson, an occasion was held in his country and all the well-known doctors, scientists, practitioners of medicine, everybody came to that event. And the reporters asked Simpson, "What is the greatest supreme discovery of your life?" And everybody gets the answer already. That is anesthesia. But do you know, kids, what Simpson answered? Simpson said, "The greatest discovery of my life is Jesus Christ. The greatest achievement in my life is accepting God." How great is that, kids? From his story, what you have to learn is, you might have wisdom, you might be clever, you might be good at your academics, you might be somebody who is always praised for your cleverness or always praised for your work or your studies or anything that could be. But if you have the wisdom of God, that's another story. You can take the example of Simpson. Simpson was very much clever. He was praised even before the invention of anesthesia. But when he asked the wisdom of God, when he pleaded God for wisdom, that is when he was able to invent this medicine. And that is when the whole world recognized him. And even now, his name and his medicine is still into practice. Even now, he is one of the well-known scientists in the medicine world. If you have the wisdom of God, if God gives you the wisdom, it is nothing to be compared of the world's wisdom. So every day when you pray, you have to ask God, "God, give me wisdom. God, give me wisdom. I ask you for wisdom." In James 1:5, God has promised, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault." God has promised to give you wisdom, kids. So you have to pray for it. You have to plead God. Ask God with your whole heart and soul. So whenever you pray, you ask God, God, as you promised in James 1:5, I'm asking for wisdom, God. Please give me wisdom, God. And when you ask for it, God will give you kids. And the wisdom that God has given you is nothing to be compared of. From Bible, you can take the example of King Solomon. King Solomon asked God, he pleaded God for wisdom. And when God gave him wisdom, he became one of the wisest men in the history. There will be no man as wise as King Solomon. There will never a man as wise as King Solomon and will never be. Because his wisdom was achieved from God. He didn't achieve his wisdom from the world by reading books or by doing anything in the world, but he asked God. And God-given wisdom is nothing you can achieve from the world, kids. When you pray to God, He will give it to you. It is nothing you can read from the books or, gain knowledge or by doing anything in this world. It can be only given by God. So every time you pray, ask for wisdom, kids, and God will give it to you. Thank you.